today, what I decided to do yesterday, and so I record everything on one day usually, and then I voice over the following morning and load it up. That seems to be a bit of a process. That's how I do it when I do a big layout. That's either really fiddly or it's just large. I like to get the whole thing done in one day, but anyway, but I digress. So, to anyone that's just popped onto my channel, my name is Karen. I live in Queensland, Australia, and I am scrapbook obsessed, to put it bluntly. I like to load up a video on my channel at least every other day, and I try and get 5 videos up a week. Now, sometimes I do very, very intricate pages. Sometimes I do super simple. And I think both of them lend themselves to my style. My style is not necessarily what you see on every other Facebook channel, or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, even Pinterest. I have a less is more approach. That doesn't mean I like everything to be simple. So come along and watch this video and you'll see what I'm talking about. So with this, what I'm using is the P13 Always Forever 6x8 card paper pad, and it's 240 GSM. The reason I've used such a heavyweight cardstock is because when you're doing an intricate pattern like this, which is the herringbone pattern, the reason I like to use a heavier cardstock is it holds its shape better, and when you're sticking it down it has less room to move because it's not as flexible. So what I'm ruling up here, yes, this is okay. And the other thing I have to let you know is, yes, I have this in fast forward. It is sped up 8 times. For those of you that are new to my channel, the reason I do that is I speed it up and I do a voiceover purely because I like to leave in all of the process, so with very little of it cut out, so you realize exactly, oh, can you see what just happened? Oh, to say I'm shattered is an understatement. That is my 19-year-old creative memories personal trimmer. To say I was devastated at that point, and I was shattered. I could not believe it. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. I have an annoying thing, and I have mentioned this in other videos, where I buy things by 2. I do it all the time. If I buy pens, I buy 2. If I buy papers, I buy 2. If it's just an OCD thing that I have, and thank heavens, when I bought my second one, I gave my first one to my eldest daughter, who wanted to scrap but she doesn't really do it. But she hoards. So guess what? I've got my original one back. So I still have my CM personal trimmer. I absolutely love it. So I'm super glad. Anyway, so this is, believe it or not, this is sped up 8 times. Imagine if I didn't speed this up. Can you imagine how this took me a long time? It may have been a little bit because I was watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard on YouTube, the trial, you know. It was, the day I did this was the day that Kate Moss took the stand. So I was very much invested in both areas, and so it took me a little longer than it should have, really. But that's okay. Now, as you can see, this is how I go ahead and construct this. Now, I haven't got, at this point, I haven't put tape down, I don't think. I worked out as I was going that it was going to be better to just run tape all the way along so it grabbed a bit here and there. Now, while I was waffling a minute ago, you did see me ink up around the edges of my backing sheet. I haven't connected the two yet because I need to be able to cut the edges off so it's perfectly straight. So I went around the edges. Now, I originally went around the edges ink-wise with frayed burlap. But what I ended up doing is going over the top of that with walnut stain. Because if you look at this paper pack, there's darker wood. So I wanted it to be more of a darker contrast. So even though I went all the way around it, I then decided to go all the way around it again. Now, this, I have left this in because I wanted to give myself a little bit of time to just have a general chit chat with you guys. So what I have discovered is I have a lot of new subscribers. I'm absolutely elated with how my channel's going, and I am absolutely loving this process. I'm also loving communicating with you guys. It is so good to be able to speak to people that have a similar interest. They may not have the same taste as me with scrapbooking. Some are card makers, but they're adapting what I'm doing on scrapbooking to their cards. I'm absolutely beside myself. I really am. Now, you know what else I'm really beside myself about? Oh, so happy. Queensland, sunny Queensland, has returned, albeit momentarily, but we have got sunlight today. Now, if we can just hope it stays like this for a couple of days, we may be able to dry out a little bit. This is how wet it's been in my street. Now, I live smack bang in the middle of Caboolture, okay? And Caboolture was a country town that is now, I wouldn't call it a city, but it's definitely starting to go more city than it is country town. Now, we have on our side of the street, we don't have concrete footpaths, okay? We have, or sidewalks for my American followers. I'm starting to learn. I will try and remember to do that. I have had a couple of people mention to me some of the things that I say, and I don't even realize. Like, I got no clue, mate. None. That I even have an accent. But then I realize I watch other people and they have accents because they're from other places in the world. And so if there's anything I say that you don't understand, honestly, I absolutely love responding to you guys. So just chuck it in the comments and I'll get back to you ASAP. So our footpaths, we don't have concrete footpaths on our side. So when our postie cruises around the corner, he's on grass. Well, he got bogged. You might have, if you've watched a few of my videos, last week he got bogged. Well, this week, driving home from picking my kids up from school, and I see this it's a tiny little Nissan, I think it's a Mirage or a something like that. It's like a little tiny car. And I kid you not, it was bogged on the footpath. All that they had done, you could see, all they did was drive up on the footpath and they were literally digging this poor car out. It was so funny. It's all grass. It wasn't even mud. It's all fully grass normally, but I felt so sorry for him. I'm like, really? This is just, is this God's way of having a laugh? Like, really? Enough's enough already. And of course, you will hear me years down the track. I'll be complaining about drought, but because that's Australia, that's what we do here in Australia. We have, um, we go from drought. It's feast or famine, is what it is here in Australia. Um, Queensland, we are, in my recent memory, I'd have to say we've been in drought most of my children's lives. Like, you can't put on a sprinkler, you can't, um, watering your lawn is just insane because as much as you want a nice green lawn, the water is way, way more important. So, yeah. Anyway, so this poor lady, here she was, bogged on her lawn, and all the neighbours had come. They'd come home from work and they were still digging her. I shouldn't laugh, but I tell you what, the tiniest car, if they all put their minds together, they probably could have lifted the car out easier than what they could have digging it out. It was so funny. Now the poor postie has no chance of driving along that part of the footpath. Not a chance. So, but yeah, I had to share that with you because that was most most interesting this week, I have to say. We have had non-stop rain, give and take a day here or there. As I was saying, I think I said it in an earlier video this week. We've actually had more rainy days, more rainy weekends than dry weekends since January, which is insane. Honestly, it's insane. The weather is just, and yeah, I am not a climate change skeptic. I fully believe in it. And yes, we need to make changes because holy moly, as we know it, things are changing big time. Not that I will ever get political on my channel. That's not what I'm. That's not what I'm about. I'm just throwing it out there. That's just something to get to know me a little bit better, I suppose. Something. So, let me know how your weeks have been. Have you had a good week or a bad week? Have you had? When do you watch my channel? I'm just going to throw out a few questions that I was thinking about yesterday, and I was thinking maybe I should have a sort of a Q&A situation. Maybe I should do something like that. Maybe ask me some questions and I'll answer it in the next video, something like that. Um, I things that I love. I love my chihuahuas. I love my family, all of my family, not just my immediate little peeps, but my obviously my husband, my mum, my dad, my I just it's across the board. I'm very much a family orientated person. I'm very much a homebody person. I What else can I tell you about myself that will help you get to know who I am? I'm very much I'm very creative. I'll Goes without saying, I guess. But if I'm not creating, if my brain's not creating to a point that I am using my hands, I struggle. I struggle with my mental health. I struggle with, um, and when I say struggle with my mental health, I mean depression. I do suffer with anxiety and depression, and which a lot of people do, especially post COVID. I have been dealing with depression ever since I had my first daughter 23 years ago. I am not ashamed to say that it's who I am. It's just, for me in my life, it is just who I am. It's my life, and I deal with it. I am not always strong. I am not always as upbeat and as chipper as I would like to be. But I'm always there for other people. So, which is not always a positive thing for myself because, okay, so it's at this point I'm going to, no, it's just continuing on. So I'm still creating this pattern. I do make a bit of a mistake here, but in the grand scheme of things, you don't really notice it at the end. So because nothing's in an actual color pattern, so you doesn't really notice. Okay, so I have dealt with depression. I quite easily go down, and crafting is what keeps me in a clear headspace. And when I decided to jump in, boots and all, and create my YouTube channel and see if people liked it, I was nervous. I was extremely nervous. I was worried how I would handle the possible rejection of people not wanting to share my channel or subscribe to my channel or even come back and watch again or anything like that. And this is why I am so grateful to each and every one of you, because it's allowed me to do the one thing that I really love the most, which is creating and scrapbooking. I pretty much, yeah, it's funny. I've been in such a good headspace now since January. Yes, at first I was very nervous, but I'm really in a good headspace now, and for that I say thank you to each and every one of you, because it's just, yeah, it means, when I say it means the world to me, it really truly does. I am a stay-at-home mum. I do have 2 children that go to school and one that's graduated. She's now 23. And sometimes it's pretty lonely. Hubby goes off to work every day, and you can only clean your house so much before you go quietly mental. So yeah, that's why I jumped in. That's why I decided to do this. I do have a suppressed immune system, so going out and about and being out in the public, especially during the pandemic, has been another massive curve that I've had to try and get over. But this is helping me no end. So to leave that on a very positive note, thank you so very much. And I will now get back to chitty chatting about my scrapbook page, because I'm just about finished the herringbone pattern. Now, as you can see, all I did to do this, so you do not need any specialized tools, okay? Scissors will work just fine. The only thing that I would suggest is, if you do happen to have a guillotine or even the Fiskars trimmer or whatever brand you have, it will make it a little bit easier to get those 90-degree angles. The reason that took me so long to get that is because when my guillotine broke, I then went to scissors, and you don't get the perfect 90-degree square. That being said, it's not the end of the world, because I inked around the edges with all of them with the walnut stain distress ink. That's what's allowed this to look very, it's kind of like grout. You know when you see tiles and they've done like a darker grout? That's what the ink around the edges has done. So now the photos that I'm doing here are of one of my dogs, Dorothy. We call her Dory for short, but she answers to Dorothy much better than Dory. Now I've just got 4 consecutive photos that I took in the front yard when she was all buffed and looking pretty and all the rest of it. Oh, here's something I want to mention. My craft foam. I went to Spotlight. This is for all my Aussie followers. I went to Spotlight the other day and to get some more craft foam because I'm still waiting on the white that I ordered from Amazon that's coming from the Antarctic, I'm sure of it, via carrier Penguin. Um, the craft foam that I buy, which is 4x6, and you get 65 sheets of it, it's gone up to $15. Used to be 5. Now it's 15. What? That's insane. What? I still bought it though. As insane as it is. Okay, so what I did here, I have got this is a thing for you guys. See these? They're stickers. They're thickers. They're just plain chipboard. There is no color on them whatsoever. And I bought them a while ago, and I thought, oh, I don't even know if I'll ever use them, but I thought I can always paint them. Well, I have painted them in the past. I've put gesso on them in the past. I've done all sorts of things. But what I decided to do with them today is use my distress ink, and it turned out better than paint. It looks so much better. So when you look in the throw out bin and you see some thickers for like $2, pro tip, pick them up because you can always paint them. You can always ink over the top of them. You can emboss them, do some embossing powder on them, pop them on some wax paper like we've got here, and ink them. There is so many things you can do with them. I use my Cricut a lot for my titles. Okay, fair observation. But I do have a lot of thickers there that I need to use. I am going around, so I ended up using. So what I ended up doing, don't mind me on my phone there. My bestie called me and I didn't get my headphones in quick enough. And again, look, there we go. I haven't done it in so many videos, but I've left my AirPods in shot again. Remember when I used to do that a lot at the beginning? Oh, geez. Anyway, so I'm going around the edges with my POSCA metallic gold fine pen. It's a 0.7 mil and it just makes it pop. It looks so good. Originally, I was going to do the letters in bundled sage because it really went with the papers I'd used. But I ended up swapping for a slightly brighter green, which is mowed lawn. And it looks so good. Look at that. It totally pops. Absolutely love it. Now, this is where I have a problem because I took so long to do this and I just let it kept recording. I ran out of room. So hang on a second. I'll be right back. Ready, set, go. Okay. So here's my close-ups. Thank you so much for watching. I would love it if you could subscribe. I would love it even more if you could get another one of your friends to come and have a look at my videos. Give me some feedback. And I will be back tomorrow with another video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thanks for popping into my little channel. And I'll chat to you again soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.